Music can bring peace to many, but to a narcissistic abuse survivor, it brings pain and suffering if the narcissist chooses to use it as a weapon of their choice. A weapon to solidify and reinforce trauma bonding, a bonding of Herculean strength, a tool to shape your emotional landscape, and to install buttons which can be pushed later. They use music to get into your subconscious mind through those melodies and lyrics to finally access your soft core. Once they get access to it, then the game is over. They put you in a prison made of musical bricks, and that is where you stay stuck. I am Danish, a psychologist and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In today's episode, we are going to learn how a narcissist uses music to create a secret trauma bond with you, to trap you. If that sounds interesting and you're eager to learn more, please subscribe before we get started, because your subscription to my channel may help in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. Number one, they curate a playlist when they meet you. They talk to you about different songs. They ask you open-ended questions to read your subconscious, to dive in deep so that they get to know what musical language you speak, what genre you like, how you process music, and then they select songs that they share with you as an expression of their love, their affection, and how they feel for you. You feel touched. You think, oh wow, this person likes me. This person wants to know me more. This person is sharing how they feel about me. And this is a normal thing that happens in a lot of relationships. But what makes it different in your case is the strategic and calculated move of the narcissist. It's not a random thing. It is a move made by them to create affinity, to create rapport just out of emotions. It's purely emotional. They know if they can fog your judgment, if they can suppress your capability to reason, they will be able to bypass your critical factor easily, and you will miss all those red flags. So the playlist they curate is a combination of the songs that you like and that they like, and they play it on repeat. There are applications like Spotify which allows you to share songs with each other, and the other person can play a song for you remotely. So they use that functionality. They'll play that song for you again and again and again and again in a way to put you into a musical trance so that you start dancing in love with them in your fantasy. That's what their fantasy is, and that's how you become a part of it, making it shared fantasy. They use that playlist to lay foundation for abuse, for devaluing you, for creating very strong trauma bond. Number two, they use songs to manufacture emotional highs and emotional peaks. During the idealization phase, they play these songs during the moments of intense emotional connection. Picture this: you are having sex with the narcissistic partner, and a romantic song is playing in the background. Lights are dim, and you feel deeply connected with them. You feel heard, you feel seen, you feel touched. They associate this song with what you're experiencing, which is the connection. And that is how they induce a trauma bond. It's like they become omnipresent by entering the different aspects of your life. In simple words, when you play this song in their absence, of course you will feel their presence. You will crave for them. You will want them to be around. You will forget all the bad things. You will forgive them too quickly and easily. You will whitewash everything and experience a euphoric recall. What's a euphoric recall? A euphoric recall, it's like an episode, a positive flashback. And when you have that, you remember all the good about the person or the thing that you're missing, and everything bad is flushed down the drain. That is what happens. And song becomes a catalyst for that. So they just create these emotional peaks, emotional highs for you to associate the intensity with the song so that you cannot forget them and to become omnipresent for you. Number three, once they have done the deed, once they have gotten you trauma bonded to themselves, they use these songs strategically and in proper context to keep you trapped. For example, you've had a fight with them and you do not want to talk to them at all. You are deeply hurt and you're thinking of breaking up. All of a sudden, a song will pop up and you will play it because you're vulnerable. Or they are there and they play this song for you. Instantly, what do? You melt down. You forget everything else and you just hug them. Or you cry and they pretend to forgive you when you should be the one forgiving them. They take you back, they accept you, and unconsciously you betray yourself. One moment you promise to yourself that I'm never going back, I'm never taking that abuse anymore. The next moment you find yourself in their arms or begging them to take you back. That leads to unintentional self-betrayal, and that self-betrayal leaves you with betrayal trauma, hence a betrayal wound, a moral wound, which manifests as self-blame and shame. Like, how did I let that happen to myself? Why did I go back when I knew what he or she was doing to me, and so on? This trauma takes time to heal, and it has many facets, if you will, all of which I will be talking about in my upcoming workshop happening next month. The dates are 7th and 14th July. In this workshop, I'll thoroughly help you understand how a narcissist betrays you beyond infidelity and how you can heal to learn to trust yourself and others one more time. If you're interested in booking your spot, you can click the I button above or the link in the description of this episode. They use music as a tool for manipulation. They use it to keep you in a state of emotional vulnerability, a state of dependency. Music is good, but if you keep listening to the same song, that elicits intense emotions. Of course, you are not going to be able to access your capability to think rationally or logically. You won't be able to make proper decisions. Music sometimes fogs our judgment. Not always. It gives us clarity as well, like in meditation. But in this context, it can make it very difficult for you to see them for who they are, and that is what they want. They use music as a tool for gaslighting you. Number four, they use songs to reinforce the trauma bond and to keep you in an utter state of confusion. This is where it gets scary. In a narcissistic relationship, as you already know, you go through cycles of high highs and low lows. Sometimes they are nice to you, other times they are a monster to you. And they associate songs with each state. Like when it's high, you get to hear the same song. Then when it's low, you get to hear the same song. The only difference is when you are like here, when you're experiencing nice moments with them, you feel happy while listening to that song. But when you are at your lowest, that song becomes a reminder of all the pain, of all the problems and everything in between. You miss them horribly, which creates the desire to go after them, and that triggers the fawn response and so on. So you see, the same element, the same source becomes a source, the origin of both of your pain and your joy as well. Isn't that the crux of trauma bonding? Essentially, you get trauma bonded to these songs as well, which is why you hate them now, which is why they trigger so much pain. Sometimes you want to listen to them. Sometimes you just want to feel that closeness, and you just play that song they played while having physical intimacy with you. That's how they stay in your life through music, and that's how they reinforce the trauma bond. Then confusion. How is that made worse? When you listen to that song, earlier I explained in this episode that you experience a euphoric recall. When you experience that euphoric recall, you forget everything bad about them and you remember only the good things. And that is when you go back and tend to repeat the cycle, or you struggle with confusion. Maybe they're not that bad. He's not that bad. Maybe she's not a monster. Maybe I'm making this up. See, this song reminds me of all the good things, of all the good times we spent together. Had they been that bad, I would have never had these memories. Like, I would have never loved this song. This is how our brain tends to think when trauma bonded to them, and that is what music associated with our trauma makes us feel. Step number 5, they use music to torture you, even in their absence. Music becomes a thing that a lot of survivors start hating, especially their favorite singers. They don't want to listen to them anymore, or certain genres, certain types of music. Why? Because they're associated with a narcissist and it reminds them of everything that happened in that relationship. The moment they listen to that song or hear it playing is the moment when they want to hide somewhere, is the moment when they just want to shut down, collapse, and not wake up again. So that is how a narcissist tortures you even in their absence. Now, the question is, I am asking you, isn't that evil? Isn't that beyond a disorder? Somebody has to be really strategic, somebody has to be really demonic, really bad to their core to do this, to use music in such a way, to use music to create a bond, to use music to devalue you, to use music to torture you. And the irony is they don't feel anything. It's only you who feels things, or who is made to feel things when listening to that music. They don't. The music they claim to love is the music they steal from, or they have stolen from their old sources of supply. It is a combination of everything they have known from others. In reality, they don't have a ear. They don't have, a taste for music. They're bland. They're boring. There's nothing. So just like they know this is a trending song, or this is a song that's too romantic, that definitely is going to elicit emotions. That's why they study you. And I talked about that in step number 1. What they also do is they will first make it seem like they're all into music, use music against you, but later when you suggest songs like, this is my favorite song, oh, I don't like that singer, oh, come on, you have such a horrible taste. That is how they devalue you as well. So music becomes a tool, a weapon, something that you may need to get rid of or take a break from, if that is what you see as a part of this trauma bonding that you may be experiencing. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for listening and staying. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.